Hello everyone, this is Sean from Barry Digital Media and I hope you are doing well. Today I'm going to give a new way on how to prepare for your interview. Typically, you do the stuff that you see in front of your screen now. Things like research the company and role, review your application, practice answering questions, master the STAR method, being situation, task, action, and result, prepare your own questions, and plan your outfit. I really want to focus in on number 5 there. Typically, you prepare 2 or 3 specific questions for the very end of the interview. But I'm going to take a unique approach. And that unique approach is essentially asking or preparing even more questions. In fact, what you want to do is you want to prepare so many questions that you naturally, while you're doing your interview, you just have 1,000 questions ready. So when you're having a conversation, those questions will come out naturally. So yes, do everything that the screen is showing you here. But what I'm trying to build is really having a quick dialogue or a genuine quality conversation with the person across from you. So then it doesn't seem prepared. It almost seems like the questions that you are asking the interviewer are coming to you, naturally. So we're going to get into it in just a moment. But before I do that, I just wanted to answer the question, why is preparing for an interview a good reason? It shows genuine interest, it demonstrates preparation, it creates a two-way conversation, it clarifies the role. That's actually a big one there. Having the deeper insights inside the role can tell you a lot. Maybe I should make a video just on that. Reveals the company culture, helps you stand out, and boosts your confidence. Now, let's pick up this job application here. Senior Digital Marketing Specialist. Let's read just its sample here. Palco is a visionary company pioneering an emerging healthcare movement that empowers people with disabilities and those aging to live independent and quality lives. Made possible by our amazing team, Palco provides technology and financial services to aid individuals and their families to thrive in their home and communities. Partnered with government agencies and Fortune 500 managed care organizations across the country, we are dedicated to creating exceptional outcomes for our clients and the millions of people that count on them. We are a highly organized company that offers a solid work/life balance, autonomy, generous paid time off, bonus potential, and career advancement opportunities. Our staff make long-lasting impact on the lives of people every day. The Senior Digital Marketing Specialist will develop and execute data-driven marketing strategies to enhance brand visibility, drive engagement, and optimize digital performance. This role will focus on digital advertising, content marketing, SEO, SEM, website conversions, optimization, and performance tracking to maximize return on investment. Sounds like a good description. It has the top things that typically a good job posting has, especially the career advancement. Now, what I did was I took this posting and I put it into ChatGPT over here and asked it to make up 10 questions to ask the employer. And what I really like what ChatGPT did here was it separated several questions in strategy and vision, tools and processes, team and collaboration, growth and development, culture and impact. Similarly, with Gemini, I asked the same thing and I got a similar kind of response. Questions about the role and team, questions about strategy and technology, questions about growth and company culture. So you can see that each time that it responds here, it brings up several questions within these different categories. And then What's nice about that is strategy and vision that will likely come up in the conversation that you have with the employer. Things like growth and company culture that will likely come up with the employer as well. In fact, one thing that I've seen before is that employers or the person hiring you, they'll all of a sudden get into a big summary about their company, and it's going to seem like this big thing that they're just reading from a sheet. And you can be kind of engaged with it, but at the same time you're being polite and letting them finish. But if you're already prepared around their company and culture, and you already have several questions that you've practiced answering before, then you're going to be more ready to interrupt or pause the person in the middle of their prepared speech and have a natural question that transforms that speech into a conversation instead, because then you will have a more authentic and more engaging interview altogether. Similarly, when they're talking about the role and what they're expecting in the position, if you have all these different questions prepared, then you'll be able to interrupt again the interviewer and break it apart into a conversation rather than a speech. And so I think that's really the objective that I'm aiming for in something like this, is try to break away from just, especially if you're interviewing with a hiring agency, which doesn't really know the company that they're trying to recruit for. And then essentially the entire interview is just points that they're talking about that was transferred from the actual employer. And so you have a little bit of not broken telephone, but you have an extended message that every time that it gets farther away from the source, it typically gets watered down in many ways. But if you're able to ask so many questions and ask good questions, then you will get into making that conversation engaging for the person that you're speaking with, and then almost make them feel like they are a part of the team as well. I hope that all made sense. So, you know what? Let's try make four more categories. Perfect. These are good as well. So, audience and market. Who is the company advertising towards or trying to serve? How are you taking care of data and analytics, advertising and budget, onboarding, success, and metrics? Let's try this in Gemini as well and just see what it brings us. Budget and resources, performance and growth, company culture, questions about the interview. What do you find most rewarding about your work at Palco? That's pretty good. What is the one thing that excites you about the future role in this company? So yeah, so the nice thing about this is the more that you work on these questions, the more insightful you're going to become as well. Or inquisitive, insightful. No, there's a word that I'm missing there, but seeking knowledge. Anyways, let's continue on and hopefully the word will come to me. How does Palco, so what I want to do is I just want to read through a couple of these questions here, and this should also be a good indication even for yourself. If you're reading through these questions and then you start feeling like you want to be more and more a part of this company, then that is likely a good sign that you will be a good fit within this role. So again, this role particularly is a senior digital marketing specialist position. And here are some questions. How does Palco differentiate its digital marketing approach from competitors in the healthcare and financial services? Pretty interesting question. They could be, they could have a new channel that other people are not taking advantage of, or perhaps they're integrating digital and traditional marketing in new ways. What role does storytelling or human-centered content play in Palco's brand strategy? Very interesting. If you're a good storyteller, then what am I trying to say? If you're good at telling a story and you are able to convey a story to the interviewer and get them involved in the story, then that's a big thing. Plus, while going through these questions, just the fact that it brought up the prompt about storytelling might get your own mind going, and you might remember a story from, let's say you're an experienced digital marketer and you had a client or marketing campaign that wasn't going well, but you did something and it became better. Then these questions are going to help bring those specifics back. And then similarly, even if you are a entry level digital marketer, then, or just entry level in general, then you can think back to some of your own experiences, even if they weren't in the specific industry, but you'll be able to show how you solve specific problems that, what am I trying to say? That transferable. So, you're applying for an account manager, but in your last role in retail, you had a customer who was being difficult in a certain way, but you resolved it because you did X, Y, Z. And now you can bring that same skill into account management role professionally. Are there opportunities to collaborate with external agencies or partners, or is most work handled in-house? How does the marketing team stay updated on compliance and regulations in healthcare-related advertising? Can you share an example of a digital marketing campaign Palco is especially proud of, and what made it successful? How do you see AI, emerging technologies like automation, predictive analytics, or personalization tools shaping Palco's marketing efforts? What's the approval process for launching campaigns, and how much autonomy would this role have in making execution decisions? I think this one's especially good for a senior position. Yeah. This one's especially good for a senior position because how much autonomy would this role have in making execution decisions? Because that should give you an indication of exactly how much authority you have as a senior member in this company. Will it be, pretty much at any level, are you going to be hand-holding for the first 3 months, or is the company going to want you to just start and run and start making solutions immediately? So let's try this in Gemini as well, just kind of see what more questions it's offering. The job description mentions a new website development project. What is the current status of that project, and what role would this position play in its completion? So what this is really nice is that it picked up a specific detail inside of the job interview and made a question about it. And then the nice thing about that is it's encouraging you to start thinking about the project rather than just being like, this is a statement and that they're building a website. It's starting to think about, what your involvement inside of this website might be. What CRM and marketing automation platforms are currently in use, and what's the team's familiarity with them? How open is the company to exploring new technologies, tools, or strategies to improve digital performance? Palco's mission to the employer excuse me. Palico's mission is to empower people with disabilities and those aging. How does the digital marketing team directly contribute to and measure the success of that mission? That's an interesting question, especially coming from a marketing position, because usually marketing is just about getting the information to the right people and encouraging interest within their product. But this asks the question, how is my involvement, or how is the marketer's actions actually helping the overall success of that company in the mission? So how I would answer that off the cuff is I would likely say that we could have a campaign that is specifically designed around building awareness about people with disabilities. We could have an awareness campaign that goes out there to specific people who may know people who are disabled, and try to get them to become in a position to make a action where they want to get more services that will help them taking care of the disabled people, something like that. How is the company's social impact reflected in its digital marketing campaigns? Similar answer, I suppose. Answers or questions about collaboration and expectations. How does the marketing team collaborate with external partners like the government agencies and managed care organizations mentioned in the description? What is the process for setting campaign goals and getting buy-ins from various stakeholders, including leadership? So at this point, I would probably take a break and get a drink of water. But during that time, I might start thinking about specific questions as well. So I just made up a question asking about making up questions to ask the interviewer. I was trying to think about ways to find more insights about them, but this might be something that comes up during the interview process, rather than what you're seeing on the screen now. But let's just read what Gemini here produced. Can you describe the biggest digital marketing challenges or opportunities that Balco is currently facing? What does a typical career path for the senior specialist? What is the one thing that excites you? Okay, here's a good one. It's not too unique, but it is a good question, and gets your brain thinking about helping the company grow as a whole in your position. What is the one thing that excites you most about the future of this role in the company? And then to quote Gemini here, this question encourages the interviewer to share their passions and gives you a more personal insight into the company culture and vision. Yeah, okay, so that's somewhat closer to what I was going for. And you can see that each time that you complete this, you can continue with more and more questions. And I think the benefit of this strategy is it helps you be more engaged with the learning process of the company. Typically, again, you can go back this way and go through this step of researching the company, reviewing your application, and those are all good. And I think that's what most people are doing. But really what I'm trying to do here is make that is to help you connect with the person who's asking the questions. Anyways, I hope some of this was fun and exciting for you. Go ahead and jump into one of the AI chat generation bots and make up a couple questions and see if this helps you. Thank you. Bye.